here's why it's important to choose the right pair of shoes when you're lifting weights. Yeah, that really can happen, and that's why it's really important to choose the right pair of shoes. So now you're probably wondering, what shoes should I choose? Stay tuned and find out. Okay, so before I tell you what shoes you should be wearing, let me tell you what shoes you absolutely should never wear. In case you couldn't tell from the video, I was wearing running shoes. Yes, running shoes. Most people in the gym that I've seen love to wear running shoes when they work out. Don't get me wrong, running shoes are wonderful to walk in, and I mean, they're great to run in. That's what they're built for. But that's what they're built for. They're built for running and walking. They're not built to handle weightlifting. And that all starts at the heel of the shoes. If you look at the soles, essentially, the entire sole is made for maximum comfort. And the biggest thing is all of them are very compressible. Now, why is this an issue at all? Well, if you're lifting weights, so let's say you're squatting, 100 pounds. That is 100 extra pounds on your back, pushing down into the ground. If you're wearing a compressible sole, do you really want your shoes to be like pillows? That's essentially what's happening. If you're squatting 100 pounds with running shoes on, you're essentially squatting on pillows. Not only is it unstable, it's also terrible for force production. Think of it like this. Gravity is constantly pushing us down, right? And in order for us to overcome gravity, we have to use our own feet, push off the ground, and stand up. We're essentially exerting a force into the ground so we can stand up, right? Now, when you're squatting, you're basically doing the same thing, except you're not used to having this additional weight on your body. It would be like if you were to suddenly wake up with an additional 100 pounds on your back, or anywhere on your body for that matter. You wouldn't know how to use your body. You wouldn't know how to move efficiently, and you would be very, very imbalanced. Now, add that with the fact that, let's pretend here, that you are now walking only on marshmallows. I don't know why I chose marshmallows. That's the first thing that came to mind, but you're now walking on marshmallows. With additional weight and an uneven surface, you are going to have a terrible time. Does that sound safe to you? No, absolutely not. The answer is no, it is not safe at all. If you ever wondered why you're having a hard time squatting, well, besides the fact that maybe you're just not strong enough, the shoes may be a problem, okay? Look at what you're wearing. It's really important. If we don't wear the right shoes for the right exercise, we're gonna have a really hard time. Not only that, we may be putting ourselves at risk for potential injury that could very, very easily be avoided. But I get it though. Some people have always worked out in running shoes. You've lifted tons of weight with the running shoes and you have yet to be injured. You have yet to be injured. I mean, I'm glad you haven't been injured, but do you really want to risk it? So what shoes do I wear then? Before we continue, real quick, drop a like down below and also leave a comment letting me know what kind of shoes that you wear to the gym. And consider subscribing if you find the information helpful at all. Anyway, back to the video. Okay, I promise you don't need anything crazy. In fact, most of you probably own a pair of shoes already that are very, very good for working out in. What you're looking for is a shoe with a flat sole and a stiff sole. Easy enough, right? Yeah, it's actually very, very easy to find a pair of shoes like that. In fact, I think most people either own a pair of Vans or a pair of Converse or some shoe that's super similar to those. And yeah, they probably aren't going to be as comfortable as your running shoes, but are you really going to the gym and lifting weights to be comfortable, or are you there to get some work done and get it done as efficiently as possible? I know you're not there to waste your time or your energy. You want every bit of energy to count. So here's why a flat sole is much more significant of an upgrade than a bouncy running shoe sole. With a flat sole, you are now essentially pushing directly into the ground and not wasting energy, as opposed to a bouncy sole where the energy could be going this way, that way, up, down, left, and right. because your ankle and your foot is going like this. Because the sole is flat and much stiffer, you're pushing off of a stable platform. It's almost as good as going barefoot. If you don't believe me, there are powerlifters out there who have squatted hundreds and hundreds of pounds wearing Converse or Vans. I promise you, if they're good enough for them, they're good enough for you. No offense to you. And if you don't already have a shoe with a flat sole, it's okay. They're relatively inexpensive, and I can drop a few links down below for shoes that I recommend. And I'll have some budget options and some pricier options, depending on the kind of person you are. I only mentioned Vans and Converse because they're a popular brand that most people recognize, and most people, I would bet, have them already. But I promise you, any kind of flat shoe will work for the most part. So what shoes do I personally wear? Admittedly, I am an ex-sneakerhead, so I love shoes. And I still have a desire to collect shoes, just, shoes for working out in. So for me, and probably a lot of people, how my shoes look play a key role in how I work out. It's probably a psychological factor, but I feel like if my shoes look good and the outfit's on point, I work a little bit better. I'm sure many people can relate to that. Anyway, so my shoes all tend to serve a different purpose. I have 2 different pairs of shoes that I like to squat in. Because I primarily train in a powerlifting style, I do both low bar squats and high bar squats, so a pair of shoes for each variation. When I'm low bar squatting, I like to wear either Converse, Vans, or Jordan 1s. I like them because they're my flat go-to shoes, and the only thing I noticed between the 3 of them, I would say, is that they are all high tops. I prefer the high tops because I feel like the extra support around my ankle keeps me safer. Now, I know some people who prefer to wear low tops with a flat sole, but my personal preference are high tops. When I do high bar squats or traditional squats, I like to wear my Olympic weightlifting shoes. Well, mostly because the heels allow me to hit depth a little easier, and I'm not really training to hit parallel. I'm going ass to grass on these. Now, these are the only shoes I wear that are not flat. However, they have a 0.75 inch heel height usually, and these heels are rock solid. They are not moving, and this additional heel height just allows for me to hit depth a little easier. For bench and deadlift, I wear the same pair of shoes. I wear a pair of deadlift slippers. Now, these deadlift slippers, if you're a powerlifter, you've probably seen these around. They're called the Notorious Lift deadlift slippers, and they are super comfortable. Yeah, they look a little bit like martial arts shoes, but I promise you these are probably the best powerlifting shoes on the market. Right now, anyway. So the reason why I mention these shoes is because with the flat pair of shoes, because I train in a powerlifting style, I use a lot of leg drive in my lifts, and I feel like when I have a flatter shoe, I'm able to generate more force through my leg drive, if that makes any sense. But I would say that for bench, shoes are less of an important factor here, mostly because it's a mostly upper body lift. So if you're a standard gym goer and you're just trying to get stronger, you are allowed to wear running shoes on upper body day, but if you're doing anything lower body, do not wear running shoes. That is the one and only exception. So I deadlift in these because they are deadlift slippers. They are built for deadlifts, just like how running shoes are made for running. They're super comfortable and very grippy. And because when you're deadlifting, you're trying to be as close to the floor as possible when you're doing it, these are perfect. The soles are very, very minimal. You can even take out the outsole to make it essentially barefoot. But sometimes I also do switch it up and wear wrestling shoes. They're just as good in my opinion, and they're all around the same price. At that point, it's just up to you in terms of preference. But for the most part, you can also use any of these deadlift shoes for squats as well. I just have a lot of options because I like options. But if I were to recommend a single pair of shoes for lifting, I would say for most people, a pair of Chuck Taylors or Vans is still the best. But that's just my personal opinion. Anyway, leave a comment down below and let me know what shoes that you wear to the gym and if I changed your mind. Also, please consider subscribing if you found this information helpful at all. And if you're gonna take anything away from this video, please just let it be this. Don't lift in running shoes.